It's ladies. If you want to avoid toxic masculinity, you stay away from those closing doors.
We're brought to you today for a very grim episode of Cold Blooded. It's not often that we have to backpedal and find ourselves in a sticky situation, PR-wise. And we here at Cold Blooded have prepared a statement. Isaac, take it away.
On behalf of us here at the Cold Blooded podcast, Drew, myself, that's pretty much it. We would like to formally apologize to the Colts organization and CATCHPHRASE for suggesting that the drafting of Laiatu Latu might force the Colts to cut pay before learning that the Colts picked up his fifth-year option.
Super sorry about that, Quiddy.
We here at the Cold Blooded podcast have nothing but the utmost respect for Pay and his ultra-quick twitch style of play. But what would you expect? We have Latu, Ebukam, Pay, Odeyingbo, and Taekwon on the edge. We are going to have more rotation than a lazy Susan. We would like to apologize again for that half-assed apology. It was very Mel Gibson-esque. We truly are happy that Quiddy is still on the team, if for no other reason than we have now the coolest edge rusher names in the NFL. Come on. Laiatu Latu, Quiddy Pay, Samson Ebukam, Dayo Odeyingbo. When you think about it, Taekwon is the most normal name on our roster.
Love that name.
Our devotion to the Colts franchise and the decisions they've made remain unwavering here at Cold Blooded, mainly because we're from Indy and not Baltimore.
That's right.
Regards from your favorite stand-up comedians, Isaac Allen and Drew Lynch. Go Horse.
Nay, I think that was so well said, and it didn't feel rehearsed or written at all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much. And it very much came from the heart.
Yeah.
And the mind in the moment.
We support you, Quiddy, and potentially this could be a year where it is breakout season, or we don't sign you again next season, and so we will have a chance to apologize again, or really just double down on the mistake that we made in the past.
And we will still be upset at any player who underperforms.
That's right.
As most angry fans who have never played a down of football are wont to do.
Expect the heat.
Expect the heat.
Expect it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think something that has been a burning question for me, Isaac, in all of these days leading up to this next episode that we're here able to record since the completion of the draft, how long is Chris Ballard's hair going to go? He said that he was going to grow it out until a Super Bowl. So what are we looking at here? Are we looking at shoulder length? Are we looking like down to his butt? Do we know how fast he can grow hair?
Well, first of all, we all know that this is a double, this is like a double whammy for him in a good way because of how frugal he is. Now, not only is he saving so much money in cap space on players, but also on haircuts.
Oh, no, I won't even go to the haircuts, man.
Yeah. I think that's really why he's doing it, because he can't not hold out for some deal.
Well, cap space. He'll be able to get a haircut when the cap increases again next year.
Yeah. He's got follicle space now that he can deal with.
Head space.
Yeah, he's got head space.
He's got head space. I love that for Chris Ballard. He's got something going on, man. It feels very midlife crisis. He's like in his I don't give a shit. He's like in his I don't give a shit type place with his general manager tenureship, right?
And you know what's the best about it? None of his hair is gray.
Yeah, I know.
That dude's old, isn't he? Isn't he in like his 60s or something?
No, I think he's 50.
50s?
I think he's maybe 50.
He's in shape.
He is in shape.
He's got no gray hairs in that long mane.
Well hydrated.
Do you think he's got, I think he's TRT in it.
What's that?
Testosterone boosting.
You think so?
I think he might be, man.
Where is he going to go? where's he going to go? You know what I mean? He's 54, by the way.
54.
I just mean, like, out in the Midwest, you got a bunch of fields to run off all them high T levels, but I don't know. I mean, I think
run off all them high T levels.
Yeah, but I think he's like he's not striking me as someone who cares too much about anything, and I just don't know if it's like. I think he's getting better with the less fucks he gives. That's what I think as a general manager.
Interesting. So it's like for you, the correlation of hair growth it's positively correlated to his decision making
to the fucks given
as a GM,
to the fucks not given,
which is positively correlated to his decision making as a GM.
I think so, because I think when Ballard tries to outsmart, when he tries to be like, I'm the smartest guy and I have an Ivy League haircut. Mm-hmm. To support that theory, then that's when he starts picking players like, Curtis Brooks and stuff like that. And you're like, what are we doing right now? When he's picking at fucking, who is it? What is it? Touré. Damn it. If I see Kamoko Touré one more time on my screen.
I still know which play you're mad about too, because I was with you for that.
Yeah, it was
play.
It was the Titans game.
Titans game.
Yeah.
What was it? When he did like he had an offsides call and like a fourth down and something.
Yes.
All he had to do, and the play was not good. It didn't work.
That was short hair Ballard's fault. That wasn't. I can't even blame Kamoko.
You know what? That means Ballard is like his hair growth and his decision making on his head. Is the opposite of Frank Reich's on his face.
Yes,
because the longer his beard got, the more he sucked.
Yeah,
at what
that's
he was
true.
Doing.
He did get a little bit into his Gandalf stage towards the end there.
But you got to have the Gandalf hair too.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Although I'd say Ballard looks a little more like Aragorn. He's the king.
Ooh, I like that.
King.
I like that a lot. And speaking of Frank Reich, I think there is a huge correlation, because we know that Chris Ballard in his last press conference regarding AD Mitchell, he kind of went off with some expletives, He swore and then he apologized for swearing, but then said he wasn't really sorry about swearing. I am all for, Isaac, the implementing of expletives in the Colts building.
We need it. Like, too long have we suffered through two coaches that were touted up top, ended up being huge busts that didn't curse.
The team that they will get to coach in heaven will be great, because they are godly men. Yeah. And that is not something to shame. We are playing football down here on earth.
Yeah, they're going to be at the pearly gates.
Yes.
St. Peter's going to be like, so I see here that you guys were a couple of the worst coaches that have ever been in the NFL.
Yeah.
You started out, you had like one good year.
You missed the playoffs and you said gosh darn. Yeah. And for that reason.
And frickin'.
Yeah. And yeah.
If there was a frickin' award, it would go to Chuck Pagano.
Yeah. And then what did I don't even know. Oh, ticked off. That's what Frank Reich would say. He said, and I'm ticked about that.
Ticked.
And I just don't think ticked gets you whoa, Frank.
Whoa.
Easy, dude. Easy.
Yeah, ticked doesn't get you Lombardi's.
Let's not come unglued. Let's just
let's keep
Ticked does not get you in the ticked doesn't get you a 9-win season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think like you can't feel like you actively are feeling supported as a fan. You can't feel like you're getting support from your coach by someone who says that they're ticked. You know what I mean? And then cuts into a waffle shortly after that, and it's like, well, man, we'll get him next time. And it's like, we're not at a place where we'll get him next time. We need someone who's fucking furious.
And now let's keep in mind, now we're talking about coaches, not GMs, but it's so particular. Mm-hmm. It's so it goes with both categories.
Yeah.
Like think about it this way. Let's do a scale of it, okay?
Right.
You said 9-8 that 9-8 season. That's the highest you can get with ticked. Okay.
Yeah, that's your ceiling.
So frickin',
right?
That's what, like a 7-9. Back in the day when it was...
Yes. Yeah. You had Chuck Pagano, who had Andrew Luck, a generational talent. Imagine if Chuck gave a fuck. If Chuck gave a fuck, Luck would have been...
Why the fuck could Chuck not give a fuck?
Because of Luck. Luck. We put too much on Luck's schmuck. Luck's schmuck Chuck would never gave a fuck, and so we would miss...
Yeah. We kept making Luck give
we would miss out on a buck.
we kept making Luck give all the fucks.
Right.
While Chuck gave no fucks. So we missed out on the buck, and now we have a buck
right
who plays nose tackle.
Shucks.
Oh,
shucks. I think Shoot Shane because I call him Shoot Steichen. That's what I call him. I call him Shoot Steichen because
I love it.
I love. He couldn't. First of all, he could not get more fired up during that. He was all out of fired ups.
Can I call him Shooter Shane?
Yeah, I mean, you could do whatever you do whatever you want. I call him Shoot
fine.
Shane around my house. I call him Shoot Shane. That's what I call him. Shoot Steichen is what I call him because he does. He goes, shoot, and he does that. He does it almost as a filler, but
shoot.
Yeah. But also, he's willing to. We know that he swears too. With the last season, we know that he swears. When you see the camera in the locker room, you know what I mean, and you see a Shane who's like, "That's what I'm fucking talking about."
Yeah.
That's what I'm fucking talking about. It's easier to punch a locker and get your mind ready for the animosity that has to happen on the field for when somebody says, "That's what I'm fucking talking about." Not like we had ourselves a day.
Yeah, because let's face it, and this is an argument I'll have with my girlfriend till the day I die, or we die,
right.
or we die together, or separate, however it works out.
Either way, it's romantic.
We'll not get into that.
Yeah.
But I'll argue this till the day I die. You need toxic masculinity in professional sports.
You do not need it.
It has to be in certain areas.
Right. In certain areas. Exactly. In professional sports. Any other
professional.
Yeah, if you just do sports and there's toxic masculinity,
no, not Pee-wee.
It's not good enough.
You don't want Pee-wee football coaches kicking the locker rooms and taking players' helmets and shoving fucking Bob Knight throwing basketballs at his players in college like that. You don't want that, although they won a lot.
Yeah. I think that's the difference between what makes it masculinity is winning. It's toxic
Hilarious.
either way, but what makes it masculine is victory.
Victory. The conquering. The warlike mentality.
Fucking victory.
If we're going to go back to Lord of the Rings, I got Lord of the Rings shoes for my birthday, dog.
Oh,
How sick are these?
That is very cool.
Then my girlfriend got these for me to support my toxic masculinity.
Yeah, it doesn't match your outfit, not one bit, but
dude,
yeah.
What is it? Aomer of Rohan says, war is the province of men.
Jeez, I don't know any of this.
Yeah, I know you don't.
You could have said anything right now. I have no idea.
You made fun of me for this for years, and I'm okay with it because so has everybody else, including my love.
I'm not even tearing you down. I just have no idea what you said.
You know why you're not tearing me down? Because in the context of the Colts, it makes fucking sense that there's this fellowship, let's say, amongst this team, and you need a leader who curses.
Yeah.
You need someone in there.
And I think Shane, he splits the difference because he says a lot of shoot. You know what I mean? He goes, shoot, heck. When he goes, shoot, and heck. He does. He shoots and hecks a lot. He does shoot and heck. But when it comes to like game time, he elevates his intensity. You know? I remember looking at a lot of the footage of D'Amico Ryans in the Texans locker room last season, and it was shared on their social media team. I don't want you to think I scouted, I found film.
No, you had sunglasses on. You snuck in there with a Texans hat. Yeah. You were like, these Texans are my favorite team. Yeah. That's why I'm scouting for them.
Boy, I love
Don't you guys agree?
H-Town. He is just fired up. He is someone who is I can't believe I said fired up. He is someone. Oh man, that's contagious.
I didn't even catch
sucks.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
He really is. He elevated his energy to match either the victory or the severity of what the stakes should convey in a locker room situation. But I completely agree with what we just came up with here, which is that the only thing that makes it masculine is victories. Because if you're toxic on a Pee-wee league, if you're toxic on a Pee-wee league, it's just failure.
But also
and embarrassment.
But where toxic masculinity also prevails? Female sports.
Oh wow. Wow, this is getting controversial, I like it.
No, but I'm just saying.
No, I like it.
But I'm just saying.
I'm not going to back down from what I like right now.
Look at what's her name that just got drafted by the Fever.
We're talking Caitlin.
Fuck you, rest of the WNBA. We're sweeping it with Caitlin, bro.
That's right.
We got Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, we pay attention to indie sports a little bit.
No, she's great. But she's incredible.
But dude, there's so much footage out there of just her with toxic masculinity, bro.
Do you think she has that?
I think she's got but she's got enough.
About her.
I think she's
What constitutes
cool.
toxic masculinity, do you think?
She'll yell
in a Caitlin Clark way.
Okay, what would you consider that a dude would do in the NBA?
Punch a chick? Wait, in the
NBA, what would be?
I thought you said NFL. Hang on. No. I was like, in the NFL, that happens all the time, and it's always in an elevator. Stop taking elevators, ladies.
If there's any moral to this story, it's ladies. Stop. If you want to avoid toxic masculinity, you stay away from those closing doors, those sliding doors. When someone hits the door close button, just don't get on.
I think it might be a trigger response that from the CTE, these football players have two things coming at them from their periphery, and they just fucking...
Yeah. I will not be boxed in. Aaron Donald's sitting in an elevator. I'm not getting double teamed.
I'm getting double teamed.
You see dents in the elevator door.
Yeah, dude. That's why he can't.
It opens on floor 10. Ding! People are just like, what the fuck are these dents in the elevator?
That's why football players, they can only stay at Hilton's and like Hamptons. You can't be getting in none of this Westin shit where it comes from the center.
I bet when they go
you needed one of these.
They go to hotel rooms for like the games, like to the visiting team, and they're like, hey, we're taking the elevator up. Aaron, Donald, why are you taking the stairs? He's like, dog, I can't revisit that trauma. You know what I mean? I can't be triggered right now.
Yeah.
I'll punch a woman in the face if I'm triggered.
Yeah. Women, no, seriously, women trigger masculinity, and it's their fault.
It's 100%. But
anyway, I don't know what constitutes as toxic masculinity for Caitlin Clark, and I don't want to put that. I don't want to put that on her because she's her own being, and she's the right amount of athlete, regardless of sex or I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is anymore. Regardless of the
I'll put it to you this way:
the privates, she is an incredible athlete.
I'll put it to you this way: I'm being extreme.
Right.
Obviously, we're joking around.
Yes, of
and
course.
Like toxic masculinity, when I say it's necessary in certain instances, like you say punch a locker, right?
Yeah.
That'd be toxic masculinity, right?
Sure.
Even if you're in a locker room full of men, that would be considered that. Maybe
well,
not
hang
to
on.
those men.
Was he provoked? What did the locker do? There's a lot of questions. I mean, I'm a.
Was it the same locker that he was stuffed in when he was a nerd and then hit his growth spurt and then became an athlete?
Came back. It's like a full circle moment.
Yeah. What is the inanimate object's role in this? It's always important to ask when dudes hit things like tables and roofs of cars.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, well, like if Caitlin Clark were in a locker room and like they were just down a lot or something, and then it was halftime and they knew it was a team they could beat, and she just had to get someone fired up, like punch the locker. Like,
really?
If she did that, I'd be like, okay. Yeah, that's toxic masculinity, but I think it could be necessary.
I think you're right, because I think only a dude can just blindly yell at other people, and other people should interpret that as motivation. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
that's something that only a dude is dumb enough to be like, I have to just yell.
Yeah.
Like, I think why women are more evolved than us is they're gonna they process the way they feel and then they try to calculate a solution. Guys are just like, I'm gonna yell until I figure it out.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, if you ever seen any dude try and put together furniture from IKEA, that's exactly what it is. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, I don't have a lot of toxic masculinity. I don't have a lot of masculinity. But I know that there are things that frustrate me. Like,
I see that in you. I see you have a cap on irritation. You don't really go to anger outwardly.
Right.
Whereas I do. Like, that's something I've been working on for years.
Yeah.
Is like, I get irritated easily, and then I would hit anger easily. Now I'm more like you, where I can get irritated easily, but and when it hits anger, I just do my best to try and I go do deep breathing. I walk away. I play drums. I do whatever I got to do to just get that out. But I think
frustration is key.
But if you and I were playing, well, it's definitely key to comedy.
Yes,
it's 100% key to comedy.
Yes,
but also to sports. I think you have to hit that anger switch sometimes.
Yeah,
you got to punch a lock. You got to swear. You have to do things like that. And like, I think that, okay, so if we're talking about the bracket here, if it's like 7 and 9 is the cap you can get with Frickin'
and Ticked,
Pagano Frickin', and then Ticked can get you, 9, 8.
They're right around the
9,
same to
whatever,
me.
right around the same.
You know.
So where I like was Steichen, I feel like it's a graph that kind of goes up most of the way, but then tails off at the end with cursing. And what I mean by that is Shane Steichen's at the right level where he can peak, but you start swearing too much.
Yeah.
You start getting you start getting the Rex Ryan level.
Yeah. And
now you go from a double-digit win team like he did with the Jets down to way low single-digit wins, then you get fired.
You swear too much and it loses its power. Mm-hmm. That is also something that applies to comedy. Wow. The parallels between what we do in professional athletes is pretty identical,
We basically are professional athletes.
We are the same.
Yeah, we're the same.
Now,
Same
I want to talk. Now, one of the things I really love about what Shane Steichen says, and I think it's clear in the draft, is how often he says, fired up. Hey, man, I'm fired up to get you. I am fired up to get you.
When I watched, shout out to the Colts social media stuff on YouTube, their clips, they've been killing it the past couple years with those.
Yes.
But this one with the draft, every time someone handed Ballard the phone to call, say, hey, man, we're taking you here at 15.
Right.
Yeah. And we're happy to have you. We're excited to get you this. Everyone had something sort of like variation to say, and then every time someone handed Shane the phone,
I'm fired up, man.
We're fired up to get you, man.
We can't tell you. We're fired up to get to work. I'm fired up to get going else with the draft.
You be Shane.
Okay, yeah.
All right, now, I'm the player.
Hey, man, Liatu. Coach Shane Steichen here.
Oh, hey, Coach, man. I'm so excited to hear from you, man. I mean, yeah, man, I'm ready to get after it.
Okay, because we're fired up right here. We're fired up here to get you on here on the Indianapolis Colts. We're super here fired up in Indianapolis. And I know that how do you feel right now?
I mean, Coach, this is the best moment of I'm sorry it's so loud. My family, everybody's just so happy for me. I mean, my family is,
how's your dad?
They're ready
How's your dad right now? Does he look fired up?
I don't know the words I would use.
What's your house pet look like right now?
Oh, man, I mean, he looks excited in a way that I can only describe.
Great.
I mean, how would you describe
it? That's probably fired up.
Okay,
That's the way we are here.
I think that
we like things fired up here at the Colts.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is great. Coach, I'm so happy.
I'm getting another call. I'm super fired up about this. This is my edible arrangement.
I appreciate you. You're not going to regret this pick.
All right, that's fine. We're fired up, man.
Okay, okay.
It's great. I would love to see how Shane reacts to just other things that is not football that happen in his house. His kids, his kids. Like say his dad. Like all right, if you're Shane and I'm coming home with a report card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, Dad, they gave us a report card today. Can you sign off on it?
Let me take a look. What are your grades here?
I got A's on some of the ones. Like I got an A in geometry.
Yo, I'm fired up about that. I am fired up about that, young one.
Yeah, and then I got a A in science.
Well, you know what, your old man, he's fired up about that because science wasn't really his thing because he actually started a lot of fires in science class with Bunsen burners. So you're fired up in the right way.
Okay, I'm getting kind of hungry too, Dad. So I'll read the rest of this to you. But something.
I'm fired up to cook you something, and we'll put something on the fire. We'll put the pan on the fire and get everything roasting and get it cooking because we're fired up to get this in your belly and send it out of you, in and out of you, hopefully with not too much fire on the end of it.
I got a D in English because they said I don't have a good vocabulary.
Well, now I'm cooling. Now I'm cooling a little bit.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's okay because you know what happens after you cool?
You get
fired up.
Dad.
That's right. Dad taught you well. Pops taught you well.
I think that there's a direct correlation to me not knowing other words because you don't.
Well, that fires me down a little bit, but
getting fired down.
That fires me down. That fires me down something good. But you know what happens, though? Sometimes you got to push a fire down before from the ashes, like the phoenix, it rises, which rise means what? You get fired.
You get fired.
Tell me, son. Tell me, son, what is it?
You get fired up, Dad.
You get fired the F up, okay?
Yeah, you get fired to shoot up.
Honey, come to bed. It's our weekly sex night. Well, I'm fired up. I'm fired up to get in that.
Man, I'm fired up.
Fired up to get in that bedroom.
Listen, I wanted to tell you that our form was good tonight. I think we hit a good rhythm. First half was solid.
First half.
All three phases.
All three phases. We switched it.
I think
20 minutes in.
Good game plan.
Good halftime adjustments. And, halftime, that's when we really got fired up.
I mean, shoot,
when you did that one move with the leg.
No, I know. When I shot. When I shot, that was when I was most fired up.
Shooter Shane was fired up.
Shooter Shane shot his shot. And I screamed out loud. I was like, Chuck gives no fucks.
Gosh darn it.
Gosh darn.
Chuck gives no fucks.
Gadarn tick 'em. ticked. I'm ticked up and going on and all heck shucks. Fired up.
You're the first person to have clean Tourette's. You're just sitting there like, you're just like, I just want to put it in the ticked off, freaking tick.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Apology, Tourette's.
Here we go. So I also want to talk about the back half of the draft this past, because we got to our first 3 picks, right? Yeah. We got to Leatu, we got to A.D. Mitchell, and then we got to Goncalves, which that doesn't matter, just as long as you lower your anchor.
Right.
And
your calves.
Right. And then we didn't get to the back half of the draft, all right? I call it the draft back half for 2024, all right? Here's what we have, and I want to go back a little bit for what we can expect from the later rounds from the past few seasons that we've gotten. Who's on the roster now from the past few seasons?
You talked about this a little bit the other day, and it's a bit important. It's an important thing to talk about.
So we ended up taking Tanner Bortolini, who's got a mullet. It's a beautiful mane, and it's all
the Italian mullet.
It's all dude. It's beautiful. It's like total business in the front, and then it's business. It's like it's a little business, but party business in the back. I loved it. He ran his 40, and it was beautiful.
That's how you want your offensive lineman's hair to be. You want it to be kind of either weird or just like a little boy.
Yeah.
Look at Quentin Nelson.
Yeah.
His hair looks like a little boy.
Yeah.
Ryan Kelly.
Sometimes he grows it out, but yeah.
Yeah, but it still looks like boyish.
Yeah.
Same with Ryan Kelly.
Yeah. I like it. Because big guys, they're big, and sometimes they're just these quiet guys, and so they they express themselves with like haircuts. You know what I mean? They express themselves by being like, this is what I got.
And much like boys in school, those are the most dangerous.
Exactly. A haircut will tell you everything you need to know about somebody.
I had a bowl cut when I was like 5. What does that mean?
I think that
I was the only Asian kid in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think if you were full white, people were fucked. That's what I think. You would have shot up a whole.
I said that on stage the other day.
Yeah, that's insane, man. All right, so we had Tanner Bortolini. Tanner Bortolini. He was drafted as a guard. I don't know if he's depth.
He's going to replace Ryan Kelly. I'm calling it now.
You think so?
If Ryan Kelly can bring him along this year,
right? He's brought us along every year on if he's going to retire or not.
Yeah.
He brings me along all the time. He's like, I don't know, I'm not thinking about it. And then he says, I think that he had some personal stuff that he went through a few seasons ago, and that was kind of tough. But
that we don't need to talk about that. That was sad.
That was sad.
Sad as fuck.
It was, but I just mean I also think it might have been the influence of the culture and maybe the coach that was kind of making him feel like, I'm just losing my love for. I'm losing my love for what I have to do professionally.
Interesting. Yeah, and then Shane, you think maybe turn that around a little bit?
I think Shane's going to turn around a lot of stuff.
I am such a Shane Steichen fan. I can't even.
Man, Steichen's going to bring it, dude.
I mean, I'm fired up.
I'm freaking fired up, man.
I'm freaking fired up. To the Tanner thing, I think because he's mainly a center.
Oh, okay.
And guard, like that's his flexibility. But he played a lot of center, and he's the only one we drafted. And Ryan Kelly's on his last year.
Oh, before he
hits free agency.
Oh, yeah. I see.
So,
and you think that they're not going to take Ryan Kelly again?
I think Fries is also a free agent after this year, and I think they might. But Ryan Kelly's getting up there, man. He's getting up there
he's 30
age.
Something, right?
And I think he's still he's not quite
drafted in 2017. I think
he made the Pro Bowl. I think once, maybe twice. But it was like a couple years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago. So I think he's like kind of on the downswing. So
he is 30 years old.
I think they might pick him up for 1 or 2 more years. But I think Tanner they're planning on him being the successor.
2016 is when he was drafted, which is, he's 8 years. 8 years he's in the thing. But I think it's like offensive linemen and defensive linemen, you're kind of just saying and spraying a little bit. You're kind of just like, I'm hoping that somebody is gonna step up and fill. You could think you draft somebody for depth, but they end up stepping up into a much larger role.
Interesting. I've always thought the same thing. It's like you say and spraying it. I also think of it kind of like a sawed-off shotgun. Like there's the spread of it. Like you just go, bam, there's a spread of it. And you're like, hey, I guess one of those hit.
Exactly.
One of those hit.
That's why I think he drafts so many bigs in all of his drafts. You know, he doesn't spend a lot on the skill positions. Unless you have like a Quentin Nelson who was like, no, that's the dude.
So that's why those Quentin Nelsons, the Trent Williamses, the Orlando Browns, those are the kind of guys that people pick up in free agency. Maybe not even Orlando Brown in that category, but they're like those, because linemen you don't usually want to pick up in free agency unless they're just a stopgap.
Yeah, of course.
Because like you said, the draft is where you want to say it and spray it, and then see what you get. And then hopefully you build from there. That's why the Colts have pretty much had a great offensive line for so many years. And when the years they haven't, it's because they went into free agency and tried to plug a bunch of holes, especially in the Grigson era.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the worst offensive line in Colts history for those years. And it was like LaRaven Clark at left tackle that we picked up. I think we drafted him actually, but there was like a whole bunch of, what was that dude that was Gosder Cherilus that was supposed to be? We paid him
an epic name.
Mad money at right tackle, I think, and he just flailed and failed.
Failed and failed.
But the pick I want to get to.
Yeah.
Which late round pick from round, let's say 5 down, are you most excited about?
Anthony Gould.
100% Anthony Gould.
Anthony Gould. I mean, it's not just that he's going to be a wide receiver; it's that he's going to be a kick returner, punt returner.
That's where he's going to
flourish
shine the most.
Yeah.
But he's got such a scat back level of movement. When I watched his highlights, the way he moves is so. Ballard is he's still got a little bit of that Kansas City in him, where it's like, let's get the speedsters.
Yeah.
Let's get people that can fly. And I know Pittman, Pierce are big dudes. They have good long speed, but they're not as twitchy. Which, by the way, I looked it up today because Downs. We were talking a lot about Downs and how high we are in him.
Yes.
And we were talking about last episode about he's not going to have a sophomore slump, and like there's no way. And then just today, the article came out about him talking about how he's going to take the year 2 leap, and how Jim Bob Cooter was talking about
Jim Bob
was talking about Cooter. How important it is that Downs takes the leap because of the fact that when you're playing in the slot, you kind of have to know everyone else's routes, because it's almost like, I feel like the way he was putting it was like you almost want to avoid collisions. It's like driving in the middle lane on a freeway. Like you don't have to pay attention to merging left or merging right. You got to do both. You got to pay attention to like where you're going. So it's like you have to kind of know everyone's route tree, not just your own. Whereas the outside guys, Pittman, Pierce, and now AD Mitchell they just focus on what
singular.
They just go up against whoever or in a zone, and they just do what their route is. But I did look this up. I want to see if you can guess this. So Josh Downs had 3.3 yards of separation per route run.
I mean,
do you know who that? You know that's first place, tied with. Can you guess?
I'm gonna say Tyreek.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Look at you, shucks and shooting
shit, and I'm fired up about what I just did, man. I'm so fired up right now, boy. I'm fired up,
bro. You is blazing.
Damn,
you blazing.
Fired up about how downs we just were right now.
Man, you so down for it.
Let me tell you though. I mean, it's not an unreasonable.
Downs.
I was fired downs. It's not an unreasonable comp because they're similar bodies. The similar bodies as far as their height and overall weight, like their proportions. I don't think doesn't shock me. And Downs passed the eye test every freaking time, man. Like, I mean, true. You can look at. I'm glad that a stat like that supports something like the eye test, because every time that Josh Downs is on the screen, he has got separation. It's incredible. I just looked this up, by the way, just in the interest of talking about wide receiver Anthony Gould. What is the new kickoff rule? And it says the kick will be from the 20-yard line, and the kicker will have the option to use a tee. The setup zone and the landing zone will not change. I don't understand that.
Basically, okay, here's all you really need to know. It's the same thing they did, I think, in the UFL or the XFL, one of those other leagues. They're just doing the same thing they're doing, which is they're in like a zone, like I don't remember. I looked it up the other day and I totally forgot it because like you said just now, it's confusing as fuck.
Yeah.
But I know what the probabilities say and what the stats are saying. Like basically, there's going to be way more returns. The whole goal is to no more touchbacks as much as possible.
Oh, that's great.
So that's why they draft. Like Chris Ballard is playing chess, bro.
Yeah.
He's ahead. I think he said that's one of the reasons why he wanted to draft Gould. Because he's just like, look, maybe he's not got a lot of hype around him, but it's like as a kick returner and punt returner, specifically kick returner.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be returning it a lot, the more chances you have to bust that home run hit.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I think you do, as a GM, have to look at not what the climate is, but what it's going to be and where it's headed. Because, like, again, quarterbacks are so much more protected now, right? And how important it is to protect those quarterbacks, how important it is to get to the quarterbacks, how important it is to draft somebody for size in your secondary because they have like the drop hip rule or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, imagine trying to pull down
that's how Kenny
like
tackles,
a Travis Kelce. Yeah, exactly. That's how Kenny tackles
everybody.
Exactly. So that's an issue. You know what I mean? But of course,
I hate that rule.
You know,
I hate that rule so much.
I mean, I saw a few clips clips from last season where Anthony Richardson got tackled that way. Mm-hmm. So you know that helps our cause, but it also kind of hurts it as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Ballard has been somebody who drafts for a lot of traits, or has in the past. EJ Speed is big. Zaire is big. They're intense guys who hit. Also, this guy that they just drafted, Jalen Carlies.
Yeah.
He was drafted, I believe, to play
Special teams?
No, I think safety, right? Well, I mean, potentially for safety. But I think he had like a history as a linebacker, right?
He's going to be a safety linebacker hybrid box kind of guy in the box. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a big guy as well. And then you've got Jalen Simpson, cornerback, and then you've got a corner, Micah Abraham. And then a 7th rounder, Jonah Lealu, which is it's good to stay on brand for this draft.
Yeah, lots of L's and U's.
Yeah, just tripping me up at every opportunity. Now,
those goddamn L's.
This is what the back half of the past few seasons have looked like from rounds like 4 and on. All right, last season in round 4 we took Adebaware, Adetaware,
another edge guy that could is in the mix.
Who knows? We took Daniel Scott, injured last season. We don't know what he is. Potentially special teamer, potentially safety. Because, dear God, Rodney Thomas. Will Mallory, 5th round. Evan Hall, running back, 5th round. Then we got Jalen Jones, round 7, who is probably going to be one of the starters in corner.
He earned it. He earned it.
He did great.
Him and Juju on the outside might be a deceptively strong duo at corner.
Yeah. Other people who are still on the roster from the previous season, you've got Eric Johnson, taken in the 5th round, also defensive front. You have Ogletree taken in the 6th round. Rodney Thomas taken in the 7th. And then Dallas Flowers, who was undrafted. Mm-hmm. So he's also somebody who was acquired through free agency. 2021, you have Will Fries in the 7th round, who I think was incredible. Incredible pickup for the value that we get for that.
Yeah.
Granson, who I do think has been... I like him. I like
clutch.
Granson.
He can be clutch.
He is.
He can be very clutch.
4th rounder. Odengbo, 2nd. Quiddy, 1. Again, those are earlier rounds. And then 2020 season, we had Danny Pinner in the 5th round and Isaiah Rodgers, 6th. I loved Isaiah Rodgers. I know he's gone and he's not on the team anymore. I loved Isaiah Rodgers.
Yeah, you were huge on it. I liked him a lot.
He was just twitchy and quick.
And he took leaps.
Yeah.
He took leaps in his progress as a player.
Yeah.
Who's the one you said before Rodgers?
Danny Pinner.
Yeah, I liked Pinter. I was a Pinter fan.
I liked him too.
He couldn't play guard to save his life, but he was a great backup center.
Yeah. I liked him too. I put what we have here, what can we expect? Because this is kind of what we're looking like for some of these rounds. I mean, Ballard values those later rounds, and I think tell me if this makes sense to you, modeling the draft almost in this way. Up front, you're using your quarterbacks, your quarterback picks, your quarterback picks and your bigs are kind of for the earlier rounds. And then for skill positions and wide receivers, you're using towards like your middle and later.
I don't know. You're talking about just the Colts, like the way, or just how you should think in general, how one should think about it.
I mean, it just feels like things are changing, rules are changing. How you can hit somebody changes. How you can protect somebody changes. There's just where you value. Yeah, I looked it up. Also, the most successful pick that you can pick in the 1st round, who is not projected to be a bust or who doesn't project to be a bust, is an offensive lineman.
Interesting.
In the 1st round.
Interesting. That's good for Joe Alt.
That's good for a lot of people.
So you're kind of saying. So let me just try and follow what you're saying because it's a complex but important point.
Yeah.
you're saying like, okay, so the rule changes. You want with the hip drop, so now you want people that tackle less like that. So you want bigger guys on the back end.
Right.
But it's a pass heavy league still.
Yeah.
So you need guys that can cover and you need pass rush. So in that sense, but then you've got the stat about like, the least amount being a bust would be an offensive lineman in the first round.
These are two separate points that I'm making here. One being like where the league is going as far as what the prototypical player is gonna look like and how the rules support those players. And then what I'm talking about the draft is I just think a lot of these earlier rounds are used for like the bigs, like you got like the edge rushers, you've got the disruptors in like the defensive, interior, and then you've got the people who are trying to protect their quarterback because as our defensive line kind of showed anybody who played us last year, if you had time to throw, you can pretty much shred our secondary.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, now wide receivers, if you take a wide receiver in the second round, which I think is the money round to be taking a wide receiver, I think there's a lot of great ones that come out of there, DK Metcalf, or late first. Then yeah, that's an exception. And then obviously quarterbacks, first round, that can happen. That's kind of where quarterbacks are, first round, second round picks. That's kind of where they end up. But for the most part, if you're taking a skill position like a corner or somebody in your secondary, I think especially somebody in your secondary, I think you're taking them in the later rounds. I think even your offense, like a lot of people don't take tight ends, they're in the first round. They take tight ends, a little bit later. All of our tight ends were taken fourth round and on, you know what I mean? So I just mean like it just feels like all these other positional groups like running back, even that's like second round. Like to take a first rounder running back it's different. It's not like the 90s or like it was before.
It happens like there's like one every first round now.
Yeah.
It's like one.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So it just feels like the earlier rounds are really being spent on like these bigger guys, these guys who are explosive and up front. And then you can kind of get somebody who like maybe like a Jalen Jones or an Isaiah Rodgers. These people are serviceable or they could even be more than serviceable. But it's affected and manipulated by these bigger guys up front.
I would agree with that. Now I see what you're saying, and I would 100% agree with that.
Like I would go, I would go very far back in the draft.
I think on the back half of the draft is where you get most of your corners.
You would go round 3. I would go round 7.
You'd go undrafted.
I would go undrafted. I'm a Dallas Flowers.
Yeah.
I'm a Dallas Flowers. People get mad at me. How I'm injured all the time. People
watch your
so
ACL, but watch your Achilles.
ACL.
I feel like in the back half of the draft too is where you get nowadays is like where you're getting like to your point, you're getting all your linebackers,
yes,
your safeties, your corners.
Yeah, you don't take a linebacker early anymore. Nobody does.
There was like
unless there's a technique where they can move forward, like a TJ Watt or something.
Yeah, like a 3-4 OLB or something. Yeah. Or you get a generational talent like a Roquan Smith.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who was sort of like
he's on the Ravens, right?
Yeah, he's kind of like the second coming of Ray Lewis a little bit. Obviously no one's Ray Lewis, but
yeah.
But no, I would agree with you actually 100% on that. Before we get out of here, we got like 4 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
I want to quickly just get into kind of making fun of the AFC South.
Okay.
Because we hate them. But like in their draft. So the Jags, let's just start with them because I want to make fun of them. What are they even doing? They got an A- from NFL.com, same as what we got. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm bringing the hate again. Make any fucking sense to me. They drafted Brian Thomas Jr. I get that.
I like that.
Because you have to replace Calvin Ridley.
I like that.
And Zay Jones.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Zay Jones isn't like a big name, but when he was in the red zone, he was putting up numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, because they would focus on everybody else. Zay Jones just knew how to run the routes he ran, was big enough to make contested catches in the red zone.
Yeah.
But and then Ridley was just, it is what it is. But I just think I love that the Jags are just focusing too much on wide receiver. Just to your point that you just made about drafting and things like that. It's like the importance of them just trying to play with this carousel of wide receivers. Brian Thomas Jr. can't replace Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones. Like
in recent history, though, the Jags have not drafted very well. And
you're right. You're right. I think
that's why I think it's asinine that they would give him such a high grade, because it's also like how what evidence do you have to support a grade like that when in the past they haven't historically drafted well.
Yeah, no, but that's what makes me. I just love it. I love shitting on them with it because you know what else they did? They drafted a running back. Like I think what was it like second or third round or something? And even though they have ETN, Bigsby, who they drafted last year, and Dearness Johnson, who they picked up in free agency, like why did they even go for a running back at all? I
know.
Bigsby is was drafted high last year by them again, just same as this guy this year. Whoever they drafted, I don't even know his name. And then, so I don't know. What do you think about that? I just love that they're just loading up in all the wrong positions for no reason.
Hey, who's to say? But again, who's to say who's wrong? It's really about
Trevor Lawrence.
You know, I think it is
that offensive line.
They could make the same case for some of the positional groups that we continue to draft. Every year we're drafting defensive line, and we're drafting them early. You know what I mean? Every year, pretty much. Except last year.
And now look what happened. Our sack total was the highest it's ever been last
year. That's true.
And it's climbed every year.
I mean, it still has not really, it still doesn't quite.
Like, we don't have a Josh Allen, I get it, but which they just signed to a long-term deal, which I think was smart on their part.
Yeah, he's a great player.
But I just don't think, to the position groups you were just talking about with the draft and what's important, the ones that we are loading up on that they could make the same argument for us are the ones you're saying are important. Wide receiver and running back are not two of those.
Right.
And that's what they're loading up on. They got 4 running backs now that were all starters at some point, except for Tank Bigsby, and if you count college, whatever. And then you got Brian Thomas Jr. was their first round pick. That's who they used their first round pick on.
I liked Brian Thomas Jr. I was really high on him.
Yeah. But they let Ridley walk and Zay Jones walk.
Yeah.
And so now it's Brian Thomas Jr., Christian Kirk, Agnew is gone. Who the fuck else?
Zay Jones? Did they have Zay Jones over there?
No, I was just saying he's out.
He's out? Zay Jones is gone?
I'm pretty sure he's gone.
Okay.
Yeah, look it up again for me because I'm pretty sure he's gone.
Okay.
I could be. I mean, now you're making me question.
I think he's still there. I could be wrong, but I think he's still there.
I'm pretty sure he's gone. I thought he went somewhere else.
Let's see.
He got picked up by, I want to say, like the Bills or some random ass team. But
he played college football. Blah blah blah. No, current team, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Why am I?
Current team. That's what it says the current team is.
I don't know, man. Give me 1 sec, because I'm pretty sure I just saw this shit.
Jacksonville Jaguars, 2022 to 23.
They also drafted a kicker.
Oh, no. On April 30th, 2024, Jones was released by the Jaguars.
Yeah, there we go. So no Jones, no Ridley, no Agnew. They used to have 5 receivers. They were stacked.
Yeah.
Now they have 2.
Well, I think it's changing. Like I said, I think it's changing. I think the Chiefs. Who do the Chiefs have as their wide receiving core? Who also have they had? Not a lot.
Yeah, but they also have a Patrick Mahomes. And
exactly.
Who they developed correctly, and Trevor Lawrence is about to not be developed correctly if they don't give him an offensive line and all these other things. It's 1:05 right now. You want to move on real quick?
Go ahead.
So Texans. I hate to say it, they had a great draft. Someone said the Texans have transformed themselves into legitimate contenders quickly, so much so that they could afford to trade away a first-round pick, which was smart. So they traded away the first round. They got a CB in the second round, which was what they needed, and they had 9 total picks. So
Is 9 picks good?
I think for them, that's how loaded they are. That's what they're saying. That's how loaded they are as a team already, is they could afford to just move back a bunch, collect picks, and just see which one works out, kind of like what Ballard tries to do.
Yeah.
So that's how in contention they are. And I think them picking a cornerback, that Kamari Lassiter guy in the first round, was smart on them. Who knows if he's going to be good. The Titans, we can easily make fun of them. They're just in shambles. They paid a bunch of money for L'Jarius Sneed for no reason, seemingly.
Right.
And Derrick Henry's gone. And then they drafted, who did they even draft, dude? They're drafted a B+ grade. The OT was smart, but then it was just a bunch of, a big up front, and a linebacker in the 4th round. A DB, a wide receiver, an LB, and an LB. So I guess they're trying to get the defense back to something, because their defense is nothing now.
I like Nick Caserio over in the Texans. I think if you get the GM, you get the quarterback, and you get the head coach, which it looks like they have, and we're hoping to have, or I mean, I think that combination is the thing that continues to produce wins in this league. And he's got the right amount of aggression, and he came in right around the time when it was pivotal. He came in 21, Nick Caserio did. I mean, I just think the best GMs are ones who are able to forecast a trend and continue to follow it at the same time. And right now, the template everybody seems to have seen is what the Chiefs are doing with a lean, young defense and a secondary that's trained up and that's coached well. Up front with somebody that's like a superstar edge or interior disruptor. And then you've got a superstar quarterback that you protect. And that's pretty much it. And, then you've got a little bit of rotational superstars where it's like, all right, our superstar is Jonathan Taylor, who's a running back, all right? But maybe their superstar is a Travis Kelce that's a tight end, you know?
So to your point, before we go, I think that's my high hopes for the Colts. That's my high hopes for them right there, is because the GM head coach thing I think is finally locked in. I think Shane Steichen,
quarterback as well,
his custom and his fired upness is bringing out that side of Ballard now. Ballard didn't have, like you said, he wasn't. Now he's dropping F-bombs. Now it's going good. And Ballard is good at forecasting. Yeah. While Shane is good at forecasting during games.
Sierra,
he sets up.
Sierra, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If somebody swears in like a motivational way, if they this is Sierra, she's our producer here.
Think
if you were to think if you were to be sworn, like if you were to try to get pumped up, all right, like you're going to a friend for a pep talk and they swear, do you feel that much more connected to their pep talk?
I guess, yeah, sure.
You guess? Well, it's context, right? It depends.
In a way, I would say.
Think about it if it's something where you need some aggression and you need some.
Right.
You need some.
If you were like,
you need a little bit of that masculine, like that energy.
Yeah, if she's telling you about leave that guy, right? If she's like, that guy's a fucking asshole. Yeah. That guy's, you're a queen. You're a queen. You're a bad bitch.
Queen.
You're a bad bitch.
With a Yankees hat.
And you're gonna get your shit together and meet me at the bar, and then we're gonna fuck up the night, right? Like, so that's a few sprinkled in swear words that I think you're like, all right, I vibe with this, rather than saying, yeah, Dylan, he was a bum.
Listen, girl, you just need to.
You're put together. And you're a sweetheart, and don't you feel more connected to the first way? Okay,
you do. Okay,
all right. That's a great way to end it there.
I think it's fantastic.
More authentic.
I think so.
That's what it is. Authenticity. It's not
authentic.
Toxic masculinity.
It's authenticity. I'm fired up.
We just fixed toxic masculinity.
I'm fired up right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 4 of the Colt Blooded Podcast. That's your co-host Drew Lynch,
and that is my co-host Isaac Allen over there. Everybody,
go horse, bitches. Go horse. We're fired up.
We're fired up.